Now on the CTV News at 5, Alberta has a new police watchdog, and it's already in operation. Plus, an innovative approach to breast cancer surgery is reshaping the patient experience. And Meals on Wheels' 23 Days of Christmas campaign kicks off.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. The Christmas Hope charity campaign is in full swing. As the calendar flips to December, participating organizations are seeing more donations coming in. Quinn Keenan has more.
Volunteers for Lethbridge Family Services' Angel Tree campaign are already starting to put together Christmas bundles. It's been a good start to their campaign with donations pouring in. Demand so far is similar to last year.
Yeah, so far so good. We've bundled over 1,700 gift bundles for children in need, and we anticipate that amount still left to go. Our registrations are still open.
My City Care's Shop of Wonders is also back helping families put presents under the Christmas tree. After a slow start, they're now starting to see more donations come through the door. They're especially in need of gifts for teens and tweens.
I think across the board we're still needing toys, but definitely toys and gifts for that ages 10 to 17 is still just a high demand. So just anything, especially those 10 to 12-year-olds are a little bit tricky.
One group seeing a big rise in demand is the Lethbridge Interfaith Food Bank. The Christmas season is always their busiest. On top of everyday essentials, they're now asking for special holiday items.
Well, on top of those normal non-perishable items, we're always looking for those special Christmas items like the turkeys, the hams, the chickens, stuffing, gravy, and cranberry sauce. We also like to see fresh at this time of year.
Christmas Hope aims to help 6,000 adults, 3,000 children, and 250 seniors this holiday season. They'll need plenty more support from the community to ensure everyone has a Merry Christmas.
And in terms of donations, the community has been really supportive this year. We just passed our halfway point of our fundraising goal, so we definitely are still looking for monetary donations to reach the goal of $180,000.
Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
For more information on the organizations participating and how you can help, visit christmashope.ca. Well, it is Cyber Monday, another chance for shoppers to find deals ahead of the holidays and for businesses to grow their sales.
Consumers are gravitating toward resale not only because they can get great things at good prices, but it's also that sense of being able to shop guilt-free because you're actually saving a lot of products from going to landfill. It's circular shopping. And as we speak, resale is actually poised to overtake fast fashion. So this is becoming huge.
Shopping services powered by artificial intelligence are expected to play a significant role in what people choose to buy. Software company Salesforce estimates AI assistants and digital agents already contributed to more than $14 billion US to the $79 billion which was spent globally on Black Friday. All right, Danielle Savoni joins us. And Danielle, some nicer temperatures today than yesterday.
Seasonal temperatures, but also some tricky conditions in many communities, Lethbridge included in this at times. The winds have really picked up throughout the afternoon hours. We've had this front that's pushed through, and that's bringing in some light snow to some areas. You can see it's also dying out for the day, which is some good news. But we've had some light snow pass through many communities. Also, the winds have picked up. So the snow that's already out there has been blowing around. So blowing and drifting snow has been a bit of an issue. 1 degree, though, is the current temperature, so we got above the freezing mark, as you can see here. Many communities, like Clare's home, is at 3, Calgary is at 2. We're just below freezing in Pincher Creek and in Medicine Hat, but a huge wind chill because it's so gusty. More details coming up, Jackie.
All right, thanks, Danielle. Well, the province is changing the way complaints are handled against police officers in Alberta. A new police review commission is now in charge.
For far too long, the perception of the public was that police were investigating police, and because of that, there was a level of distrust. It's now time for change.
The new Review Police Commission is an independent arm's-length civilian body. It will handle complaints in three main categories: death or serious injury, allegations of criminal offenses, and non-criminal misconduct complaints. As part of its mandate, the PRC must complete investigations within 180 days. If an extension is required, the reasons why will be made public. Ellis says the new commission will provide transparency, improve accountability, and strengthen public trust in policing. Alberta's current police watchdog, ACERT, will now operate under the PRC. A former Alberta anesthesiologist convicted of sexual assault in 2016 will no longer be a registered sex offender. That is according to a new court ruling. Dr. Barry Wallach was found guilty of sexually assaulting a woman in 2016 during a date. He worked in both Calgary and Lethbridge, administering sedatives at dental clinics and other health facilities. Wallach was sentenced to 2.5 years behind bars and ordered to be listed as a sex offender, which he appealed. Now, on the basis Wallach had no criminal record, complied with his release conditions, and served his sentence, court agreed he be exempted from the sex offender registry. One person died in a collision Sunday afternoon on a Highway 3 at Corbin Road, about halfway between the Alberta-BC boundary and Sparwood. Elk Valley RCMP say 2 vehicles were involved in the collision. Around 1:20 p.m., one person died at the scene, while the other driver was airlifted to Calgary by Stars. Highway 3 was closed for several hours on Sunday while Mounties investigated. The cause of the collision remains under investigation. Cleanup work is underway after 12 rail cars of a Canadian Pacific Kansas City train derailed about 16 kilometers east of Cranbrook. The railway company says a preliminary assessment showed about 12 cars were involved, including some carrying wood products and 3 tanker cars carrying propane. CPKC says in an update that the propane tank cars, including one that leaked some product on Saturday, were repositioned by a dangerous goods team yesterday to be safely offloaded in the coming days. The railway company says the cause of the derailment, that is still under investigation. The city of Lethbridge is moving forward with plans to construct a roundabout at the intersection of College Drive South and 28th Avenue South. The city will be hosting an informational open house on Thursday afternoon at College Drive Community Church to share plans with residents and businesses in the area. Now, the project was first introduced during the 2025 Community Conversation event. Since then, the design has been refined to incorporate community feedback and meet certain current traffic needs. Construction is planned for next summer. The citizen-led petition against a referendum on Alberta independence has been verified. The province's chief electoral officer found the Forever Canada petition met all of the requirements and was successful. Former Deputy Premier Thomas Lukasik surpassed the minimum of 294,000 signatures, collecting over 450,000. He started the campaign because he thinks most Albertans do not want anything to do with separatism. The petition proposal will go to the Legislative Assembly in the coming weeks, where a committee will make recommendations on what to do next. Options include treating it as a policy proposal or a referendum. Well, for now, Premier Danielle Smith is facing recall petitions that have been approved against 14 MLAs, all of them members of the UCP caucus. She says there will be some changes to elections legislation on Thursday, saying Justice Minister will share more details that day. The president of the Alberta Federation of Labour says the Premier has only herself to blame for the recall petitions. Southern Albertans with breast cancer will be able to get a much easier type of survey at the Chinook Regional Hospital. A new partnership between the CRH Foundation and Alberta Health Services has seen the launch of a 3-year MagSeed and MagTrace pilot project. Using rice-sized magnetic markers called MagSeeds, surgeons can accurately locate breast tumors or lymph nodes without traditional hook wires. The new way will offer patients a less stressful, more precise, and more breast-preserving surgical experience. The new method was fully funded by doctors and donors to the hospital foundation.
We have a multitude of needs in the hospital, but this is one that is always a need, cancer and cardiac, as well as all of the other areas of the hospital. You know, we often ask for greatest need funding, and that is with the intent that we can actually support any projects that come forward based on the needs of the hospital and the surrounding healthcare facilities.
Lethbridge is only the second city behind Calgary in Alberta to offer MagSeed and MagTrace operations. The 17th annual Meals on Wheels 23 Days of Christmas campaign has officially kicked off. Each year the campaign tries to fund Meals on Wheels for every day of December and the beginning of January. Each day has already been sponsored by a local business or organization to cover the cost of meals for those in need. The campaign has raised $374,000 since it began 17 years ago, and those involved are among and aiming to hit the $400,000 mark this Christmas.
A ton of those kudos go out to those organizations that step up and make their day. They each own a day, and they're the ones writing the check for that day and making their donation. So we're just the facilitators. The real true community heroes in this are the people and the organizations that are sponsoring each day.
As we see more folks wanting to stay at home, caregivers who are maybe experiencing burnout, or as the healthcare system has so much demand and folks are being discharged, we see things like a basic meal being needed more and more.
While each day has been sponsored, the campaign is offering gift cards to help support those in need. Anyone can pick up a gift card at Cupper's Coffee, with the proceeds going towards the Meals on Wheels program. Well, several people captured images of a fireball streaking across Alberta last night. The video was taken from Calgary's Zoo Lights. People also spotted it while at the Spruce Meadows Christmas Market. The Facebook group Alberta Aurora Chasers says the fireball was actually visible from across the province, with reports coming in from Wainwright, Edmonton, Lacombe, Red Deer, Okotoks, Lethbridge, and Pincher Creek. Witnesses say it lasted between 10 and 20 seconds, roughly from the northeast to the southwest. The group says the direction and duration suggests it might have been a space debris re-entry, but there is no confirmation. Now, if you saw it or have images, report it to the American Meteor Society website. It's time for our first break, and Danielle is back with the forecast when we return. Plus, cold and flu season has hit, and Canada is spiking in many areas. We're back in 2 minutes.
Here's your Skywatch weather camera, and we have some cloud cover. We also have some blue sky. We also have some drifting snow out there in and around Lethbridge and outside of the city as well, in much of the far south, because the winds are pretty gusty and some snow has fallen, and there's more on the way. We're talking about all of this in this weather hit. 4 degrees was the high in Calgary, but check that out to the east of us. Regina's high was -12, Winnipeg -11, Thunder Bay -8. So we've nicely and kindly sent all our colder air off to the east, and we're getting some warmer temperatures in the south, and we will continue to get that over the next few days. Really pretty mild for this week overall. But gusty, 78 kilometers per hour. That's the max gust so far in Pincher Creek, 70 in Lethbridge, close to 40 in Medicine Hat. So let's advance this and talk what that does to wind chill. So even though our base temperature is just -2 in Pincher Creek, when you combine those types of gusts, -12 or even colder is what it feels like with the wind chill. And these wind chill values are in the blue here. Now, we're not below freezing, so we don't have to deal with wind chill in Claresholm. We're at +3, so it's 3. 1 in Lethbridge, and Medicine Hat with that wind feels more like -7. All right, let's talk about the satellite radar imagery. This is the first wave that has pushed through, not really delivering much at all, just some isolated snowflakes here and there, but of course, reducing visibility in some points, making driving a little tricky because of the drifting snow, because this is also combined with some stronger wind gusts. We have wave number 2 tomorrow in some communities. Lethbridge is included in this. So I'm going to advance, and you can see as we get into tomorrow morning, we start to see this band that will develop. It looks like this band will be concentrated over Calgary down to Lethbridge and could last on and off in this one area throughout the entire day. So we're not looking at huge totals, but we are looking at reducing visibility at times because it will die out and pick up. But because it will be concentrated in that one spot, we are looking at picking up a little bit, at least a couple of centimeters. I'll show you that in just a moment. But then you can see by Wednesday, it does clear out. When you look at snow totals and what we can expect because of that one band, let me go back. Because of that one band throughout the day, we are looking at getting a couple centimeters here. So let me just show you that. We'll advance this. Oh, wow, we went through the whole show. Okay, let's advance this. There's that band of snow. Let's talk about the snow that we can get from this as I advance, and here we go. It's just a bit frozen for some reason. All right, tomorrow. Bit of a graphical issue. Here we go. Anywhere from 1 to 2 centimeters. Calgary down Highway 2, Okotoks, High River, Lethbridge. Throughout the day is what we're looking at. 1 to 2 centimeters is certainly possible, especially in that area and even into the Milk River area. Outside of that, all the snowfall is off on the BC side. East Kootenay, a couple centimeters tonight, and then that should taper off tomorrow, -2, but it will feel more like -8, partly cloudy skies. Gusty up to 80 kilometers per hour over the next hour in Crow's Pass, then calming down, but up to 60 tomorrow with a small chance of a few flurries and a high of -1. A couple centimeters possible throughout the day in Medicine Hat tomorrow, but less likely to see it there. More likely we're looking at seeing it off to the west of Medicine Hat. Lethbridge, 1 to 3 centimeters possible because of this, a high of 1, and we stay around that freezing mark for Wednesday as well. Our next snowfall arrives on Friday.
Golden flu season has arrived in Canada. Sickness is now quickly spreading across the parts of the country. Paul Hollingsworth reports.
It's cold and flu season, which is why Chris Butler recently decided to be proactive and get her shots before the winter weather sets in.
I am safe, but I am still doing the wash my hands and that kind of thing. And I don't like to go to any event if it's really crowded.
New data from Health Canada shows flu cases jumped to more than 2,100 last week, up from close to 1,400 the previous week. The population most affected by the flu are people 65 and older. That's why Bill Van Gorder is urging his fellow seniors to wear a mask and be up to date with vaccinations.
Your flu shot, your COVID shot, your RSV shot. Remember, if you get one of those other respiratory diseases, the chances of you also picking up the flu are very strong.
Some children's hospitals across the country have implemented mask mandates and have added extra healthcare staff, expecting an influx of flu patients this season. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Lisa Barrett says there are concerns this year's flu vaccine is not a perfect match for the strains spreading in Canada.
It still does prevent hospitalizations and ICU admissions in many people. And also, there are other strains that are well matched still, that might not be as common, but are still floating around. And this vaccine will still protect you against those.
According to Dr. Barrett, there are also fears this version of the flu virus could bring a lot of sickness.
We do know from the rest of the world that we're starting to see influenza go up, and it's been a crappy influenza season in other parts of the world, so likely it's going to be a tough one here too.
Dr. Lisa Barrett says sometimes people think they have a cold when actually it's the flu, which can lead to severe symptoms and sometimes other complications. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Still ahead on the CTV News at 5. We talk all things Southern Alberta sports when we come back. Hurricanes hosted the Moose Jaw Warriors this weekend to start a 4-game homestand. After Moose Jaw struck first, Cade Dool keeps his hot streak going with his 6th of the year to tie the game. In the second, Tyden Lafreniere would pot his 3rd of the year to make it 2-1. And just a few minutes later, it is Cade Dool again getting on the score sheet with his 2nd goal of the game. After Moose Jaw got one back, Hudson Kibblewhite swung the momentum back, and that served as the game winner, with Lethbridge going on to a 6-3 win. Medicine Hat Tigers were on the road as well. Friday, the Tigers were trailing the Saskatoon Blades 3-2 after 1, and that's when the Tigers took over, and they scored 3 unanswered in the second to take a 5-3 lead. They didn't let up, adding 4 more in the third for a 9-3 win. Tigers got off to a better start Saturday against Prince Albert, leading 2-0 after the first, but the Raiders would tie things up with a pair of goals in the second. Still tied late in the third, Caden McCann finds the back of the net with 1.5 minutes left, and that would be the game winner. Medicine Hat takes this one 3-2. Brooks Bandits, having seemingly found their stride headed into the weekend, they were riding a 4-game win streak. That streak came to an end Friday. Sherwood Park came into the CRA and left with a 5-3 win over the Bandits. Brooks would get back to winning the next night, down 3-0 in the third period. The Bandits came back to beat the Coquitlam Express 4-3 in overtime. Tough weekend for the Cranbrook Bucks. Friday, they kept it close but lost 2-1 to the West Kelowna Warriors. Saturday, they came up just short again, losing 3-2 to the Trail Smoke Eaters. It was the last weekend of action for post-secondary sports before the winter break. The Pronghorns and Kodiaks were looking to head into the holidays on winning notes. Pronghorns basketball teams were in Langley taking on the Trinity Western Spartans. Friday, the women lost 87-66, but the men were able to follow that up with a 77-72 win. Saturday wasn't any better for the women, losing 70-57. The men weren't able to finish off a sweep, though. They also fell 87-64. The Kodiaks basketball team spent their weekend at home. Friday, the women suffered a 60-49 loss to the Augustana Vikings, but the men, they managed an 87-76 win. Saturday against the Nate Ooks was another tough one for the women, losing 89-52. They finished off the perfect weekend with an 88-63 win. That would be the men did. The volleyball teams were on the road this weekend. Women's volleyball lost 3-0 to the Vikings, while the men won 3-1. Saturday, the women's team lost another 3-set sweep to the Nate Ooks. Men's volleyball also fell 3-1. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5. We introduce you to the Faucet cat when we come back. Many cat owners will admit their pets can be as frustrating as they are adorable. One such feisty feline has forced an Oklahoma woman to get creative to avoid high water bills. ABC's Danny New has more.
The culprit and the crime.
So my boyfriend normally works from home, but he didn't that day. He goes to the office in Oklahoma City.
Brianna Terry of Oklahoma discovered this image on her security camera when she arrived at work a few weeks ago.
I had just gotten to work, drove 20 minutes there, and then immediately had to drive back.
It turned out her cat, Tofu, had become a little too domesticated and could now turn on the kitchen faucet with only 3 paws required. However, you'll notice Tofu does not grab a quick drink or anything. He just immediately leaves once his work is finished.
Cats.
Yeah.
They just love to do things that drive you crazy.
Yeah. That's him.
In the few weeks since, this video has exploded with millions of views on social media. One commenter on X saying it's time for him to start chipping in for the bills. If he can learn how to turn the sink on, he can learn to hustle. Of course, Tofu is actually a little sweetie and has come a long way since Bree adopted him last year when he was found as a stray. In this case, Bree feels Tofu is just quite food motivated, and this is his latest way of saying, hey, give me a treat.
Keep in mind, I love him. He's the cutest thing, but he really doesn't have a lot of brain cells. So for him to figure out how to do that, I'm like, wow.
And since Tofu has not stopped turning on the faucet, Bree now has to leave its spigot permanently wrapped in this headband. So far, Bree says this method has been effective.
Hi, Tofu.
What are you doing?
Trying to find a sink to turn on.
Probably.
Danny New, ABC News, New York.
Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.